You've never liked the silence, ever. At first you thought it was just something you were scared of, for no reason. But as you grew older, you realized that there was a reason. There had always been a reason. You've always slept with your creaky ceiling fan running, no matter how cold it was. You'd take extra blankets, you'd shiver, but you'd never switch the creaky thing off, because you knew how much you dreaded the silence. Because you knew that once it was silent, you'd hear them. At first it had started out as soft hissing noises. You'd ignored it, but then you'd realize that it sounded like someone was whispering something. To you. It took you time to decipher them. You finally did. You'd never forget that. They had told you about the underworld, hell, the place where everyone went once they died. There was no heaven, there was only hell. They told you about the creatures there, how every monster you'd feared was real. They told you terrible things. Then they told you how your grandfather's soul was inching closer. To hell. To death. You remember being at your grandfather's funeral the very next day, shaking, more out of fear than grief. They were real. It was real. Since then, you've never allowed the silence to envelop you while you slept. You're scared you'll hear them. The things they told you about will... Here I lay, all snuggled up in bed, warm and satisfied under the soft silk covers, watching some stupid documentary on TV I'd never heard of. I'd turn it over, but the gallon tub of cookie dough ice cream wouldn't let me use my hands for anything other than shoveling the frozen treat into my mouth. Nights like these are rare. It isn't often that everyone's out of the house but me, so I make sure to savor them. In fact, I wasn't expecting anyone back until the morning. That's what made the sound of the door opening downstairs so alarming. Panic hits me like a steam train. I silently leap out from under the covers, spilling the ice cream all over the pristine white carpet on the floor, and creak open the wardrobe next to the bed. I heard footsteps, heavy and indiscreet, like they wanted me to know they were there. I pant and pick up the spoon I had just been using to enjoy the relaxing night. The footsteps get louder. I force myself into the minuscule space remaining in the wardrobe and close the door, just as the stranger opens the bedroom door, not sparing any seconds for silence. I peer through the gap. His face looks familiar, but I can't place my finger on where I know him from. He spots the spilled ice cream and darts his head across the wide expanse of the room. Hello? He calls, not sounding vicious, but I've made that mistake before. Never under any circumstance assume friendliness from a voice. He looks under the bed. Oh crap, he's looking for someone. I hold back a whimper and start bending the bowl of the spoon back and forth, hoping to snap it off and create some way of defending myself. It snaps, but it creates a metallic click. The man turns his head around and makes his way to the wardrobe. I'm shaking now. Please don't open it. Please don't open it. Please don't open it. The door swings open and he sees me. We scream simultaneously in fear and surprise. Without hesitation, I leap onto the man and start digging into whatever stretch of flesh I can with the sharp edge of the spoon handle. He screeches in clear pain, but I won't stop. I hammer the handle deep into his chest and neck over and over until he becomes motionless. I've killed him. I cry in disgust and sprint downstairs and away from the house. I charge down the road until I feel like I'm far enough away. I sit down for a moment and exhale heavily before regaining my composure. Pulling out my phone, I open Twitter and search #party. Hopefully this time I'll find a household that isn't lying when they say they'll be out all night.
You know how it goes. When you're a child, your favorite thing was your music box. It would play a soothing yet haunting melody that lulled you to sleep or provided background noise for playtime. You had it for years. You loved it, cherished it, you brought it everywhere, kept it safe. It was your comfort item, one you were proud to show, unlike Billy's baby blanket. Your music box kept you safe, or so you thought. Each night you would play it, falling asleep to its haunting tone. But what you don't know was that it was always there, poking and prodding at the edge of your consciousness. It controlled your dreams, made you think that your nightmares only came when there was no melody breaking the stifling silence. No, you didn't have nightmares with your music box. It was the nightmare. It fed off your happiness, your calmness. Oh, now you're just noticing that you never had to change the battery? It wasn't an inanimate object. No, it was a living, malevolent creature, waiting. It's waiting for the moment, that one slip of reality. It's waiting for you to screw up, to forget. Your precious music box will become a part of you. You will forget it. You will not remember. It will control you. And the only part left will be the faint melody, one that reminds you of your younger, innocent days. What you won't realize is that it was slipping up. Fight it. Remember, don't forget, or you will become one.
On an early, dim morning, an elderly woman rested her hand atop a gravestone. Henry Blackwood, 1938 to 2004. She rested flowers on it and wept, something she didn't usually do. She always made sure to bring something of Henry's when she made her annual visit to his grave. Her memory wasn't what it used to be, and her brain needed help to get it jogged. She brought something he hated, his hearing aids. She remembered wistfully how he never used them, always insisted he had excellent hearing despite keeping the television's volumes up so high. Now all she wanted was his return to her loving embrace. Oh, Henry, she fell to her knees and looked to the sky. How I wish you'd come back to me. But in the sky and through her blurred, teary vision she saw a red star. It was faint, but she heard a malignant chuckle, and the star flashed to match it. Then it disappeared with the rising sun. She wiped away her tears. Strange. Was it a product of her imagination? She stood up and surveyed the area, but saw nothing. It seemed like the moment was merely nothing but an old, senile woman's mood swings. As she smiled at her silly old self, a question came to her that felt like part of a dark realization. Could the battery in the hearing aid still work? She attached it to her best ear and turned it on. She could hear the rustling of crow feathers in a nearby tree. It probably still worked due to her husband's lack of commitment to use it. Then, swallowing hard, she rested her ear on the ground above his grave. Her mouth dropped in horror as she heard scratching, shuffling, and a familiar voice bellowing a horrified. I bolted upright in the bed, not sure what I expected to see, but knowing that something had startled me awake. Moonlight filtered in through the window, and I shivered despite the unseasonably warm temperature. After a few minutes I heard it, a soft tapping of fingers against the glass. Slowly I turned my head to the window, expecting to see some horrible creature lurking there with sharp fangs and terrible claws, but there was nothing. There wasn't even wind to knock the branches against the window. Cautiously I slipped out of bed and looked out the window, feeling relieved to see there was nothing outside. Just hearing things, I muttered, coming back to bed. I wasn't used to sleeping alone, but my partner was away on business. Surely it was just the change in routine startling me. Moments before getting into the bed, I heard the tapping again, slightly louder this time, less hesitant. I spun around, sandy blonde curls sticking to my shoulders, my suddenly sweaty brow. The window was clear. A still and empty sky allowed the full moon to illuminate the ground before revealing no one or nothing outside. This time a loud banging behind me, like fists pounding on glass trying to escape. Against my better judgment, I crossed the room to the bathroom, resting my hand against the warm wooden door before pushing gently. A bit of moonlight spilled into the room. Nothing different or odd, nothing jumped out, but I shivered again and leaned over to light the candle I knew would be to my left. The warm glow seemed much brighter than normal, and I jumped when I caught my reflection. It's just me, I trailed off, as the me in the mirror raised its hands before flashing white fangs and shattering the glass. My mother always told me to eat my greens. Like most, I was a fussy, picky child and didn't want anything to do with the disgusting-looking mass of otherworldly slime that she slopped onto my plate every meal. Give me meat, give me dinner rolls, anything but that. Eat your greens so you grow up big and strong. If all you eat is meat and sweets, you'll turn into an aggressive thug, she always told me. Well, I certainly didn't want to be a thug. I was a nice person, you know. I was always polite to everyone and always patient, too. I couldn't stand those jerks who played football and stuffed other kids into lockers. You'll just have to repay them with kindness and outlast them with patience, my mother always advised. Well, Mother, I guess you were right. I will be more kind and patient than all the thugs and jerks. See, I invited the jerks over for dinner. Wasn't that nice of me, Mother? I'll even eat all my greens this time to make doubly sure that I won't turn into a thug. I just wish that it didn't take so long for the human body to turn green.
You don't know me. No one knows me. Only Master knows of my existence. But Master and I know all of you. We visit all of you, my friends, during the witching hour. I'm never there during the day. The sun's rays penetrate my shadowy soul and obliterate my flesh. My bones turn to ash and my organs become dust. Daytime in one place is nighttime in another, though. So Master and I always are traveling. Never in one place for too long. After the sun has died and the moon lives again, I come. I'll get close up to you and breathe in the scent of your life. I listen to your heartbeat and breathing. Master then starts to work on you, putting one finger on your forehead and whispering Latin words. You always end up squirming or screaming. Master calls them nightmares. I always want to comfort you, hold you close, but I can never touch, not ever. Master tells me never to touch. I've learned not to touch. Master hurt me badly, and my skin, my scarred, sensitive skin, has paid the price. But sometimes I can't help myself. When Master isn't looking, I strike. I brush my fingernails down your arms, trace your lips, comb your hair away from your face. But my skin kills your kind, breaks the blood vessels, bruises your body in mysterious ways you can never figure out. I'm sorry, I really am. I can't help myself. I want to show you how much I love you. When Master and I are done with you, I always remember to take a souvenir. Usually it's something small that you wouldn't notice is missing, like a coin or a pen, snatched up from behind Master's back, but sometimes you don't have very much. When that happens, I take something else, with Master's permission, of course. Hair, nails, eyelashes, a part of you, and it will always be mine. I hope to see you tonight, but if you don't fall asleep, we'll have a problem. Master says I can't let you see me. If you see me, our friendship will be over, and I will have to kill you. I don't want to kill you. I don't want to see the blood seep through your bed sheets. I don't want to see your face as you scream at the sight of me. My deformed skin, my scars, my love for you. But maybe, deep down inside, just a little bit, I do. I am Master Child, after all. Sweet dreams, darlings. I'll be waiting for you.
I sat on the bus on the way to school, listening to music and paying little to no attention to the other students. At one of the stops, my mind snapped back to reality. I looked toward the small house. Tommy's house, I thought. A hand slipped through the drapes of the window and waved the bus driver to move on. He's sick, I thought, paying no large amount of attention to the situation. The day flew by. I watched the local news channel after school, and what I heard paralyzed me. Tommy's entire family was murdered that day by an unknown suspect. After hearing this news, I moved back up to my room and quietly fell asleep. The next day, I sat on the bus. We drove past Tommy's house, and the bus driver, unaware of Tommy's family's fate, stopped by his house. As I was about to get up and explain to her what had happened, something caught my eye.